There I go, Jose, changing people's names on them. You know what? I come to my good brother up in up north here. I'd like to read what he wrote in the page there. He says, okay, I see both sides and need to pay a bit more attention. There is stuff being put out to confuse and mix and mash and make us all look crazy. Look here, a story Lincoln Snowden took chemtrail insider info, leading him to look like a disinfo agent and chemtrail believer to look like nut jobs, or for chemtrail believers to look like nut jobs. This is a satirical article made up according to its original source, and that the search for Muad'Dib lab reveals a barrage of links condoning and supporting the man and this theory. It's fake. So, yeah, I posted a picture, too, of the pilots carrying these signs. Supposedly they had pictures of the chemtrails, and it was completely different. There's a lot of fakes out there. So, whatever side of the issue you stand, we are certainly all misled at times. And why in the world are they spraying? What in the world are they spraying? And who in the world is spraying is going to be another one coming out. But those are pretty good. But that Contrail Science has supposedly debunked these movies. I didn't get a chance to watch them. And let's see. Oh, yeah, there's also a photo that circulated a lot showing these tanks inside of the cargo or the plane where the seats would normally be, or cargo area, or whatever it would be. So these tanks are said to have been used to add the chemicals to the spray, but that's also been debunked. It is water ballast for flight simulation to test how shifting passengers and so forth on the plane would affect the flight. That was, like I said, a lot of disinformation out there. You see a lot of planes where, like, they're dumping fuel, which they do, or dropping water, or I guess there's some other stuff, fueling, so forth. Ron did a lot of good posting in here, but I'm trying to debunk. Here's 2011, February 11th of 2011, CBS News 5 in Arizona. They had this guy come on here. He's owned an aviation outfit. Anyways, he's all like laughing. Oh, these stupid people, they're nuts. They don't have anything better to do. No, so too much time on their hand, basically. So. For some, that's definitive proof, because you have a man from aviation saying chemtrails do not exist. Continue. Okay. So I looked at some chemtrail videos on YouTube, the debunking, and I looked at several sites, but the issue is pretty clouded. Pardon the pun. Here's a friend from down in New Zealand. It's his Maori Arohanui. So he says there are many processes enacted by industry into our environment throughout the world. The age has come to stop this type of process, where in most cases affects and harms life itself, unto our Mother Earth. Forgive us and lead us all into your knowing and function as one. Now, I can say amen to that, It's quite obvious that the industry and the government's complacent. The EPA, the EPA's there to knock the little guy around. These big companies, they pollute something. Well, they pay a little old fine. Let's say they made $100, they pay $1 fine or something out of that. So it's just good business to go ahead and keep polluting. And to say that people don't have financial interest that they could be doing this. All right, am I going to get somebody to come in here and call for the debunking? Connie, I know you're listening. I know you're out there. Okay, all right. We've got a half an hour before we change gears, so I would like to get somebody's intake. Any callers? And I'm surprised at how many people were coming, and I do not see you.
Ring, ring. Oh, yeah.
Ring, ring. Go ahead, Ken.
I don't have any.
You don't have nothing?
All I could do is ring the phone and not answer it.
I'm so.
I guess, I was going to ask you something, Vince. From the research that you've been doing, what are some good sources and I don't want to discourage people from calling in because I think that I'd rather hear from them than hear myself. But from what you've found, where are some good places to start doing just simple online research, aside from going outside and looking up, which I think is one of the main ideas that we're seeking here is for people to personally investigate. Where would you advise, like for me, for instance, where do I go? Where do I start digging? What's a source that you may find more reputable and, just to put it simply, not far and wide, far flung, somebody that has their head on straight that's looking at this from a very rational standpoint?
Well, I'll give you a few. First of all, I'd like to invite y'all to tune in Saturday for Geoengineering Watch right here with Dane Wigington and Russ Tanner. And, that's Saturday afternoon right here on UCY.tv. Now, both them fellas have websites of their own. That's, Russ is Global Skywatch and, Dane is Geoengineering Watch. I would also, recommend Carnicon.com, or org, I think it is. And let's see, what was the other one? They look up. Just Google look up, matter of fact. I didn't say Google. I said search engine look up.
I still use Google.
Hi, we have a caller from the 260 area code, and we are adding you in. Do I have you, caller?
Hello?
Hello, welcome.
Hi, this is Shane from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Welcome, Shane. Glad to have you.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on a few things that I've heard so far. I'm also from Fort Wayne, Indiana, and back in the 50s, we were one of the few towns that were experimented on by the Air Force. They released cadmium, selenium sulfate, radioactive form, and various other things into our atmosphere back then. But I've been following the chemtrail issue ever since 1998, actually. I think your guest mentioned barium. Barium stearate was one of the components of the spray, including things like ethylene dibromide, methyl tertiary butyl ethylene. I'm not sure how the mix has changed over the last 15 years, but I do know that in 2001, a congressman from Ohio, Representative Dennis Kucinich, tried to get chemtrails outlawed as part of the Space Preservation Act in 2001. He tried to add that in there. It was basically it was about space-based and atmospheric-based weapons. And at the time, he considered chemtrails to be an atmospheric weapon. He tried to get it outlawed in 2001, but they rewrote the bill and left the chemtrail part out. Another thing I wanted to add was one of the websites where you can look up more information on this subject is called rense.com, RENSE.com. I've been following the site off and on for 15 years now, and they have a lot of good information on the chemtrail issue.
But give that site again, please.
RENSE.com.
Rents.
Yes. Rense.com.
Yeah, I've been there. For the counter, I guess go to contrailscience.com. They do a thorough job of debunking chemtrails. So, I would advise that if you want to look at the other end of the issue, because, I'll tell you what, you can get pretty convoluted here. You can certainly make a case that they do and do not exist. Ain't that right, Connie? That's my conscience, Connie. She's my BS meter on post, and, she'll call BS quick if she don't think it's right.
Hey, and Shane, do we still have him on the line?
Yeah, Shane's
still here.
Shane, I'm local to you here, so if you wouldn't mind digging me up from the, do you have the event portion of this on Facebook, or are you just coming through UCY?
I do have it. I do have it up. Yeah.
Okay. Are we perchance already friends? This is Ken Miller. Did you get an invite from me, or okay? If you wouldn't mind looking me up, I'd love to talk with you more. You know,
sure, not a problem.
Not today or something, but, and thank you for amending the information that I so barely presented. I'd definitely like to have a conversation with you because it does sound like you are well informed. So, you can find me on Facebook, as if you look me up on the search, I should be the first Ken Miller that'll come up on the search, but I have a fake middle name of Put 'em Up, or you can find me on the event page real easily, but if you feel like shooting me a friend request or just a private message, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'd be happy to share anything that I've uncovered in the past 15 years.
Awesome. Thanks for calling, too.
Awesome.
No problem.
Thanks. Would you like to add anything else, sir?
No, that's all I have at this point.
All right. Thanks, brother. Appreciate your call.
Alrighty.
I'll send you a friend request, too, when I get back into Facebook.
Sounds good.
Awesome. We got quite a network up there in Fort Wayne going on, and Joe and Ken and Pluto Absab. There's a few guys going up there that are really activists working on another end of the water, and that's what's put in the water. So big issue there. We covered that a couple of weeks ago.
And gals, don't forget the gals.
Oh yeah,
we got some movers and shakers in the ladies scene here.
I guess that's kind of generic, you guys. Well, down here we say y'all, so.
Right, I go it up here too. It cracks people up.
There's a line somewhere that kind of maybe filters back and forth, but it crosses from y'all to Ewins, up about in North Arkansas and Missouri. See, we say Missouri instead of Missouri here in Arkansas. But hey, yeah, Joe, there is a beautiful harvest moon tonight. I don't think it's going to peek through where I'm at because, like I said, I've had a week of weather manipulation. Now, and let me quantify that. Let's say there are no chemicals being sprayed out. There is something coming out there. Okay, water vapor. If let's say it's water vapor, they are persisting into form a cirrus cloud mass, and so by default. Now, okay, let's look at a rocket stove. It causes such a burn that even the smoke is burnt, and all it's supposed to be emitting then is water vapor. So, is fuel that's being burnt coming out the back end of a plane? Is there anything left over other than water vapor? Because I read too that the cirrus clouds need some clouds need organic particles to attach, and these other ones, they need other compounds that are more of a mineral type, a compound to attach to form these cirrus clouds. So the argument has been made, show me a picture of nozzle spraying this stuff. Well, then you might ask, well, can they just add it into the fuel? And, George, he says no, because it would, and he cited example of white clouds are grounded during a volcano and they can't fly through there. I think that's quite a bit more extreme, but there's all kinds of additives put into fuel, so I've got to think that actually, you could add stuff into the fuel. But I think, now it's argued that there's more air traffic today, but there's mostly flight corridors, and there's no rhyme or reason that I see when these planes are flying in, crisscross, and I've seen them turn around. Like I said, I spent about 40 hours looking at this last week and take lots of pictures, and I just see that what's going on just doesn't look right, doesn't look normal, but it is explained this is normal during certain atmospheric conditions when they are met. That's what you get. And we have examples of long persisting contrails that have been photographed back even to World War II and so forth and before. And so they say that this, has been going on, and now there's just more planes. So Connie asked, "Are you guys?" See, she said, "Guys, hey, you guys." You suggesting that passenger planes carry chemicals and performing chemical drops? Well, I don't know. I've not been personally privy to that information, but there's a lot of people that say there is, and others say that they ain't. Just like I said, the on-off that you see of the condensation trail is because they hit little pockets of it changes the amount of humidity, and the temperature changes at various little spots along the way, and that's why you see what appears to be on-off. There's me debunking the chemtrails. Then I forget what site I got that from, but so does that even make sense? Can there be tiny little pockets right there just to change that just enough? I mean, wouldn't it be more of a conglomerate as far as what the atmosphere is at a certain point? Or is it just kind of like ripples and waves that go up and down where it changes, and they're just kind of cutting through the little ripples? Don't know. Hey, Mike, why don't you call in and give us your take? I see you and Connie have a pretty good discussion here going on in the chat. So call in and I'll add you to the call. Mike, he says, regular passenger jets are not chem planes. The fleets are older jets retired from commercial service, 737s and the MD-80s, MD-90s, and they are leased to holding companies, Weather Modification Inc. Oh yeah, I forgot about them, thanks. And Desert Research Institute, along with several water districts, own or contract aircraft every year in Idaho, Wyoming, Utah. This is fact, Dave. This is from the sites that are not like conspiracy theory or anything about chemtrails. Last week I did a really good job, I think, of chasing all this stuff down, and I have at least a good couple of hundred links in the event page. If you go back to the very beginning of the original event from last week, and all through there, I think I did a pretty good job of presenting the fact that chemtrails are going on. So I'd like to get somebody to tell me they ain't going on. And Connie wants to know, can we please show her what a chem plane looks like? Good evening, Zoe, host with Jules before the first cup right here on UCY. She's joining us. Glad to have you. I enjoy listening to you guys almost every morning, unless I have been otherwise predisposed. Wonderful show. JJ has come back. Big shout out to Mr. James Freeland. He's come back on air, and he's mornings here, 8 a.m. on the East Coast, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I do believe. And come to UCY.com, come to the homepage. Look at our other hosts there. We have a wonderful, wonderful array of folks. Just a lot of information going on here. Lots of information. And we're not about trying to whack nobody in the head. Here we go. Calling. This is Mike. Welcome, Mike.
Hi there. I forget there's this delay from the phone, so I'm a couple seconds ahead of the chat, right?
Yeah, we are. We'll be being heard momentarily.
Great. Well, I've always asked a few questions of people, and generally they just put their head down and say, I don't know. But first I want to make clear that the idea that private corporations and the government would be doing something like this to us is so disturbing that most people can't wrap their head around it, and they just won't accept it. It's, the cognitive dissonance thing. Oh, they would never do that to us. They can't. They wouldn't. No, I mean, the government has our best interests at heart, right?
Sure. Always.
See how that works? And so most people have a great difficulty in accepting their own visual experience and would rather say, well, that does not fit into my official paradigm that is fed to me by my background in education or my work or whatever, because it's so difficult. Because if the government is lying about the fact that there is no laws at all, none, regulating what a private corporation can do to the atmosphere, then it rocks our world. Oh my gosh, we can't believe that. I just can't believe it. No, it's not the truth, because if it is the truth, then a lot of my logical paradigm falls apart, right?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And so this is why people, they cannot look up. And if they look up in the sky and they see a perfect six-sided X where they actually meet right in the middle, they say, well, that has to be coincidence, because the alternative is such that they would have to change their intellectual paradigm, and it is too much work. They would they would much rather go watch some TV or do something else. They're not going to look up anymore. A lot of people I know just refuse to. I'd say, look at that. Isn't that neat? There's 3 jets. One of them a half a mile behind the other, and the other one half a mile, and they're perfectly spaced, and they're making 3 stripes in the sky. Well, that's just normal aircraft. Well, is it? What normal passenger aircraft ever does that? And how come they only do it every once in a while? The logic behind the patterns created by these things suggests that it is done for a purpose. Now, most people can't understand. Oh, my goodness, some corporation has decided they need a few 100,000 extra acre-feet in a reservoir or the upper Colorado River Basin, and so they're going to spray aluminum on us and make some, and precipitate it somewhere else in order to finance their water customers.